I know in every single cell of my being that if we gathered our energies together as a global community, we could create positive change on the planet very, very quickly, instantaneously. And it really is a time for us to come together as a global community to work together. And that sounds really wonderful to be able to do that. And the whole principle of divinity and oneness is so beautiful, and we've all been working to really understand that. And there's a both and that has to go on while we work together as a global community and as we tap into the divine. Because when we tap into the divine, we actually go into an ego-less state. And you have to have an ego before you can lose your ego. And so what I've noticed in my teachings and being around spiritual groups and the highs that come from being in spiritual groups is unless we're willing to really look at those egoic states of consciousness that are running us, unless we're willing to look at our past hurts, unless we're willing to acknowledge our issues that come up around jealousy, competition, how we've been betrayed in our lives, and will this group betray me like I've been betrayed before, then that starts to run under the power of the community that's coming together. So it's really beautiful that the focus of this school has been on both. It's been on how do we teach people, how do we guide people to find their inner light and move into a place of divinity and oneness, and at the same time recognize that we're also human beings, and we came here to have a full life experience. And that has to do with getting mad, depressed, frustrated, acting out in all the ways that human beings tend to act out. And to be able to accept those places in ourselves and to acknowledge those places in ourselves so that they don't run our spiritual work, so that we can at least come from a place of truth and to actually then be able to be in service to the world, because we don't need more division on the planet right now. And what's happening as groups come together, because they're not always willing to look at those egoic states that are running us, that is actually polluting the power that groups have right now. So it really is about a both and. And I really acknowledge all of you who are going out into the world to be able to teach both. That paradox that yes, we're all one, and yes, we're all divine beings in the world, and at the same time, we're human beings who have a whole entire range of human emotions, and to not do a spiritual bypass that's going to come back and whack you later on, but deal with it now so that we're not bound by our past. We understand it, and it provides a richness for us to really be able to go forth. And when I was talking to Catherine the other day, and I have been involved on a periphery with Southwestern College ever since I've come here, I actually had no idea that New Thought was actually one of the guiding teachings of the school. And although I teach workshops on shamanism, as I started to explore how we can use spiritual methods to reverse environmental pollution right now, I started to, of course, where do you go to, but you have to go back to a place of oneness and divinity and seeing that light heals. All light can heal. And the power when we come together as a group is exponential of what can happen. And in my research, after I wrote and after I've been teaching for many years, I got led back to the work of the New Thought Church. And I am never without a book that comes from one of the teachers from the New Thought Church. So it was just really interesting to find that out the other day. I had no idea that's been a guiding light for the school. So as teachers going out into the world, as counselors going out into the world, teaching self-mastery, which is what your real service is about, is helping people to get in touch with what their destiny is, what their dharma is at this particular point in time. It's how we can use our own creative abilities and really be able to align our thoughts and words with what we want to see for ourselves, but also the whole planet right now. It's really important to be able to do that. So there's so much to being in service right now. It's acknowledging the light in each and every person. It's helping people to work through those problematic states of consciousness and the limitations and the insecurities of being a human being on the planet today, to really help people to be able to go into those divine states in a very pure way. And how do you really get people? How do you really work with people in a very deep way to be able to help them to really work with their minds, their thoughts, their words, to really be able to manifest the world that they want to live in for themselves, for all of life, and for the descendants who will come? There's a tremendous amount of pain and suffering in the world right now. And that actually goes back to a deep spiritual teaching, which has to do with before any new birth, there has to be a death. And so right now, as master gardeners, you're going out there as master gardeners. You're teaching people how to weed out the garden of their past, but also plant the seeds of the new thoughts, the new words of what each person wants to see for themselves and for the world. And as master gardeners, the pain and suffering that people are experiencing right now is acting as compost. It's such a rich time on the planet right now with so much loss. You get to a point where you realize there's actually nothing to lose. And so it's an incredibly rich time for you to be going out and helping people right now. The pain and loss that we're seeing on the planet today has created a very rich soil. People are ready for you. People are ready for you to go out and shine your lights in the world. It is your birthright to shine your light as brightly as the stars above you. And it is your service to teach people how to do the same. So once again, I ask everybody who's present in the room, let's take a minute to just go inside of ourselves and to take some really deep breaths and breathe through your heart. And if you don't know what that means, put your hands on your heart and breathe through your heart love and support and gratitude and many, many blessings for all today who are going through a rite of passage, an initiation, a time of change, of committing to service to oneself and the planet. With our hearts, we give blessings for each in the room. We give thanks for your willingness to be in service. And the knowledge that right now all of you are being held in the loving arms of the universe. And you never have to fear for not knowing what to do, for you know the power of spirit. You know how to tap into spirit, and you know that spirit will always lead you to be able to heal, to be able to teach, to be able to create change. We give thanks for all of you who have made the commitment to be in service. We give thanks for everybody present in this room. We give thanks for our lives, and we teach people everyone we meet had to do the same.